In that car, in your other cars, there were many leaders, many of your colleagues. And I remembered that 20 years ago, on these very days, you and Jacques Chirac were traveling in the same car to an event marking the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, concentration camp. At that time, of course, nobody would have thought that 20 years later, Russia would not be invited to the same events. Now many people are discussing the fact that the largest German delegation was there. There were representatives of the countries that served Hitler. There was Zelensky, who applauds Nazis and pursues a neo-Nazi policy. What the hell is going on in Europe? Are they confused? Have they lost themselves, their historical memory?
I think it is wrong to compare the situation. Countries that, as you said, served Hitler or in general, like Germany, actually supported Hitler's rise to power and were then responsible for starting the Second World War. But that was then. German society today has nothing to do with that. Yes, of course, there is historical memory, and we must remember it, and we must not forget it. But it seems unfair to me to blame today's generation of Germans for what happened in the 1930s and 1940s. But that is my personal opinion. You can take it in different ways. I'm sure it will be treated differently. After all, I lived in Germany. I still have a lot of friends in Germany. I know how they feel about the Nazi past. By the way, the Germans themselves feel guilty and so on. But I would like to emphasize once again that neither the present generation nor future generations should be disadvantaged because of what happened under Hitler. That is the first thing. The second thing about European. The elites is a special part of the conversation. Yes, in Europe there were such outstanding political world figures as French presidents Charles de Gaulle, François Mitterrand, and more recently, Jacques Chirac in Germany, Chancellors Willy Brandt, Helmut Kohl, and Gerhard Schröder. These are people who had their own opinion and the courage to fight for their own opinion, to express it, to talk about it, and to at least try to put it into practice. Nowadays, there are practically no such people. Sometimes you are even surprised to see what is going on. Some incomprehensible people have no education and are engaged in something they have never done in their lives. From the point of view of the interests of the citizens of European countries, this is a problem. They are just political minnows. Well, God be with them. This is where all sorts of alternatives come from. And then, to fight these alternatives, European politicians try to resort to bans, as if they do not realize that if they ban it today, another alternative with a different name will appear tomorrow. When there is a public need to promote a certain political idea, there is no escaping it. How did they, European politicians, teach us in their time? Introduce a more winnable program, make people believe you, and offer solutions. But now they are thinking about what to ban and where to ban it. There is a lot of noise going on right now between European political elites and President-elect Trump. Has anything changed since Biden? Nothing has changed. Under Biden, they were happy to do whatever came from Washington. It's just that they don't like Trump. They actively fought against him, really interfered in political life, in the U.S. election process, and then got confused when Trump suddenly won. They liked Biden better mentally. And Trump has different ideas about what is good and what is bad, including gender politics and some other issues. They just don't like it. I assure you, Trump, with his character, his persistence, will put things in order there very quickly. And all of them, you'll see, it will happen quickly soon. All of them will stand at their master's feet and gently wag their tails. Everything will fall into place. And as for inviting or not inviting to events related to the liberation of Auschwitz, this is of course such a strange, shameful thing for those who did it. Why? You can feel whatever you want about Russian politics, about the head of the Russian state, about me. Nobody is asking for an invitation. But if you think about it, You could have done something much more delicate. If it is no longer possible to invite the liberators of Auschwitz because of their health and age, at least their relatives could be invited, or someone else who has something to do with them. Well, but to invite people who chose Bandera as their national hero, guilty of the Holocaust, guilty of the extermination of hundreds of thousands of Jews, Russians, and Poles. Polish. Society knows this, by the way, and from time to time reminds its political leaders who Bandera was. Today's Ukrainian leadership has elevated Bandera to the status of a national hero. He is now a symbol of Ukrainian statehood, and, as you said, the then acting head of state applauds the former SS soldiers who personally destroyed Jews with their own hands, the perpetrators of the Holocaust tragedy. This is, of course, very strange. Well, these are the realities of today in Europe we have just been talking about.